Merciful God, we gather today to honor these cadets who, with their training, hard work, and education throughout these 4 years, will be shortly earning their rank as second lieutenants, U.S. Army. We are deeply grateful for and inspired by their passionate commitment to protect our beloved nation. Bless all the members of the cadre and staff of Hofstra Army ROTC who have played a major role in the training and growth of these special cadets. Bless the parents and families, friends of these students whose support, sacrifice, and understanding and love have brought them to this momentous occasion. And grant your special blessing to these cadets who are dedicating themselves, even at the risk of their own lives, to the pursuit of excellence as leaders stepping up to answer the call to defend our American citizens' most sacred values, especially our freedom and security. Protect them with the shield of your strength, be their constant companion in battle, and keep them safe from all harm. May they always feel your divine presence, and we pray for your love to lead them and your wisdom to guide them through the challenges they will face. May we always be grateful for their extraordinary courage, dedication to protecting us, and their leadership. And merciful God, always bless them with safe journeys, and bless them with a safe return home, and good health and good spirits to all their loving families and all their loved ones. And may it be your will, merciful God, that you bless them and all of us gathered here, that we may bask in your blessings of health, happiness, fulfillment, and peace. And let us say, Amen.
Thank you, Sweet Alliance, for that wonderful rendition. Thank you, Rabbi Middleman. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. At this time, I would like to introduce the Professor of Military Science, Lieutenant Colonel Daniel L. Cederman.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Task Force Haddock Hofstra ROTC commissioning ceremony. I would like to welcome our guest speaker, Colonel Adam Roth, Melissa Connolly, Richard Hall, Houston Doherty, those members of faculty and administration of Hofstra University, family and friends, and members of Task Force Haddock. A few things I want to talk about this morning are 3 parts. One, the journey that Adam Roth currently serves as the regional engineer for the 99th Regional Support Command at Joint Base Dix Lakehurst. They're responsible for facilities and infrastructure of over 300 facilities across 13 states. Colonel Roth was commissioned as a second lieutenant at Hofstra University in 1987, with a Bachelor's of Science in Industrial Engineering. From there, he entered active service at Fort Benning, Georgia, as an infantry officer, and then attended Ranger School. Colonel Roth is also a member of the Police Fire and Rescue Services in Pennsylvania, has served with the Volunteer Fire Department in Knoxville, Tennessee, Richfield Township in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, and the Oceanside Fire Department, Columbia Engine Company No. 1, Oceanside, New York. Please give a warm welcome to Colonel Adam Roth.
I, having been appointed an officer in the Army of the United States, in the grade of second lieutenant, do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States. As you're walking around Hofstra today, and for some of you, welcome, I'm home. You heard it, 1987. I'm an old guy. That was the joke you're supposed to. But no more than 40 feet from here, there's a monument. One's to the first 10 amendments to that Constitution of the United States that they will be supporting and defending, swearing on a DA Form 87. That's out there. First 10 amendments to the Constitution, known as the Bill of Rights. There is also another monument about 50 feet from there. I'm an engineer, so I think in numbers. And it's the Declaration of Independence. If you go across the street, there's a memorial quadrangle that we built a number of years ago. And you talk about the fraternity that they are joining today. And that fraternity is a fraternity that is fraught with peril. And we're going to talk about that. But one of the things that's up there are those who have lost their lives, given their lives, in the support of freedom and that Constitution of the United States. Two of those individuals up on that wall, Ben Freed and Ron Midgett, I knew. Many of you know someone who has given their life. The future of our nation is in front of you. Melissa Connolly, Vice President for University Relations. Richard Apollo, the Associate Provost. W. Houston Doherty, Vice President for Student Affairs. Lieutenant Colonel Cederman, Commander, Task Force Havoc. Master Sergeant Kemper, Senior Enlisted Leader, Task Force Havoc. My name is Adam Roth, and I'm an American soldier. I want to spend some time today talking to you about what we are going to be honoring. If you have worn the uniform of the United States military, Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines, Coast Guard, no longer wear that, have served honorably, may I ask that you stand up right now? A round of applause. If you are a family member, a loved one, a teddy bear, someone who supported that person who's been supporting defending the Constitution because you were taking care of home so they could go out, go to drill, go to deployment, do whatever it was because the uniform and the calling asked them to do that. That person who has supported your soldier, your sailor, airman, marine, or Coast Guardsman, may I ask you to please stand up. The people who are standing up, those are the reasons that we serve. Thank you. So I talk about December 17th, 1987, when I got commissioned. So I didn't have like a big crowd. It was like 5 guys and a bag of Doritos. It was really bad. It was over at it was called the multipurpose room. I don't know what you guys call it now, Congress of Vienna or something, I don't know. But the point is, it was me and somebody else, Alice Kerr. We both got commissioned as second lieutenants. And I thought about what was it like back in those days. And, you know, it's the Reagan buildup, it's Caspar Weinberger. You know, we knew who the enemy was. It was the Russians, it was the Warsaw Pact. It was easy. So Colonel Cederman's talking about, you know, it was stuff that we knew. So we had the Big Five. We had Bradleys, we had Abrams, we had the Apache helicopter, we had the Patriot weapon system. And that, guess what? Won the Cold War. So for all you Cold Warriors out there, we won that war. But it was an easy war because we just let them spend themselves into oblivion. So then I think about, what do these new lieutenants have in front of them? The events of September 11th, 2001 showed that we have a very asymmetrical battlefield. It is not from land, not sea, not air, but can be from cyberspace and other ways that people want to kill us. I just said it. So the question is, how do I know who my adversary is? When he will strike? With what capabilities he is going to try to get me so that way I can overmatch his capabilities? Tell you who the people are going to figure that out. Those people right there. Because when you think of what the Army has tried for 200 years, when will the next war take place? Where will it take place? And who are we fighting? 100% of the time, we have been wrong. Who pays the price? They will. Because we invested in a degree in character and integrity and Army values to make them the best leaders that we could. That was from all of you who stood up earlier, who supported those soldiers, let us say future lieutenants. And now it's our job to support them as they go into an asymmetrical battlefield, because under air-land battle we knew who it was. Now it's called the Army Operating Concept. How to win in a complex world where we don't know when, we don't know where, we don't know how, but we do know one thing: we know our capabilities, and the smartest lieutenants that we've ever had are the ones that are there. But it's going to be tough, because back in the day, and for those of you who have been in the Army a little bit longer than I have, remember it kind of sucked because we didn't have a lot of money to train. And guys can remember just staying in the drill hole or staying back in Mannheim because you only had 800 miles on the track because we had no money. Suddenly the fairy dust came, and we suddenly had a lot of money, and we did great stuff. But what that did to our Army is we forgot the school of the soldier. 4 things you got to master as a lieutenant. They're going to get there. They need to know training and operations, supply, maintenance, and personnel. What we did for the last 15 years, we gave them a microwavable meal. It was called a unit. We sent them to a mobilization platform, and we sent them to war. They never learned how to connect the dots. And more importantly, they didn't know how to connect the dots when you had no money. Who's going to have to learn that? They're going to have to learn how to do something with less. In tiered readiness, where the Army cannot afford to pay for every unit to be at the heightened level of readiness. And to motivate those soldiers, because what you see in front of you is what? 11 commissionees. I don't see 11 soldiers. I see about 450 to 500 soldiers that are standing up there. Because time now, they're all responsible as platoon leaders or other section-sized elements that they're leading. And they need their leadership, because they need to understand contextually what is going on. Am I going to train? I didn't join the Army just to sit around. What are you going to do now, platoon leader? We talk about the regionally aligned force, and we talk about we have folks that are right now 4 separate companies. One of our cadre here I talk with briefly. Many of you know the Russians are doing some of the things they used to be doing. Took over the Crimea. We've got 173rd Airborne Brigade start out in 4 separate countries. Operation Atlantic Resolve. We have soldiers in so many places right now. We've got 9 of 11 division headquarters deployed. It's a busy Army. Who's going to do all that? They will, because we train them and because you supported them. But the one thing that they learned was how to think critically. When I think about being a lieutenant, it was just sort of like, just do it. Don't ask why, because. Then you think about these lieutenants who have served for the last 15 years. And you think about being on a very, very disparate FOB, a forward operating base, or a COP, contingent operating location. And they're out there, and they've got to make decisions that are life and death that are not only for themselves or that platoon. Some of them have national implications. So as much as I see 11 future lieutenants, I see ambassadors. Because depending on what we are doing and with whom we are engaging, they're making decisions of national significance. I would tell you, oh, hold on one second. Hey, Mike, can you hold this? And it's about change. Hold on. But it's true. It's about leadership. It's about getting in somebody's face and getting into somebody's heart, in their soul, understanding why do they serve. That's what they're learning. So when you meet your first platoon sergeant, lieutenants, your success or failure will be in that first relationship, that first impression. Because that non-commissioned officer has seen many of you before him or her. Do you have the humility to listen? Do you have the ability to understand, to listen, to see through their eyes what's happened in that unit, what has gone through their hearts, their souls? When you talk about the things that you are going to do, you're all competing. You all competed to get through your LDAC, to get your branch, to get your component. Now the question is going to be, how well do you compete against your peers in your branch and the Army, against a rater profile and a senior rater profile in an Army that's getting smaller and moving towards quality? That's what Colonel Cederman's job was, to get you to this level. Now you belong to the Army. I want you to expand your network and seek mentors and find people that maybe are not an infantry, artillery, ordnance officer, but rather have a larger worldview, because these are people you like talking to. Those are the people that interest me. And when you're broadening, the question is, what credential do I need? We talked about yesterday about those 4 questions, where you see yourself educationally, militarily, professionally, and relationship-wise. But the question is, what kind of credentials do I need to hold in order to satisfy my professional requirements as well as my educational requirements? You know, we talk about emblems. And for me, this was an emblem of my service here at Hofstra. Emblems can be ranger tabs, airborne wings, can be many things. It's the rite of passage that gets you to the tribal knowledge. As you see these very clean uniforms that they're wearing today, a uniform is basically a history. And as you start seeing your soldier coming back from school, things will start to be on that uniform. They paint the history, and they're in charge of that career because they are the artist that paints on that canvas. I will tell you that from this day on, it is no longer about you. It's all about service and the service that you render in your nation. So it may not be as convenient to be in front of the heater and the stove, but those people are counting on you, just like they're counting on you. Quite frankly, the nation counts on you. It's about the service. And everything we do is training, just like the rehearsal you had 15 minutes ago. A chance to excel. So you need to manufacture those opportunities in order to train. I will tell you that many people will say, it is not what you know, but who you know. I vehemently disagree. As you move on in your career, I agree that knowing people is important. But as you become what is known in your branch, in your army, your regiment, you become what's known as a name. So the question is not what you know, and not who you know, but who knows you. Ladies and gentlemen, it has been an honor to talk to you today just a little bit about some of the things that I've talked about and seen through only 28 years that started here at Hofstra University. Seppo, Cry Havoc, Essayons, Dauntless, Army Strong. Thank you. Thank you all. God bless.
We will now administer the oath of office. The administration of an oath is a practice that dates back to ancient times when warriors took a solemn vow in front of witnesses to profess their allegiance to their leaders. In the United States Armed Forces today, officers take a solemn oath to the Constitution, the document that is the foundation of American freedom. This oath pledges the officer to support and defend that freedom from all enemies, and is the foundation of the profession upon which they are about to enter. Lieutenant Colonel Cederman will now administer the oath.
Half right, face. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. I state your full name.
I, Jessica Default.
Jose Luis Rivera.
I, Henry Allen.
I, Christopher Gaia.
I, Matthew Canavan.
I, Alex Chobek.
I, Isaac G.
I, Steve Mancia.
I, Lisa Evans. I, Jillian Clementina.
Having been appointed an officer
Having been appointed an officer
in the Army of the United States
in the Army of the United States
in the grade of second lieutenant,
in the grade of second lieutenant,
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear
that I will support and defend
that I will support and defend
the Constitution of the United States
the Constitution of the United States
against all enemies,
against all enemies,
foreign and domestic,
foreign and domestic,
that I will bear true faith
that I will bear true faith
and allegiance to the same,
and allegiance to the same,
that I take this obligation willingly
that I take this obligation willingly
without any mental reservation
without any mental reservation
or purpose of evasion,
or purpose of evasion,
and that I will well and faithfully
and I will well and faithfully
discharge the duties
discharge the duties
of the office
of the office
upon which
upon which
I am about to enter.
I am about to enter.
So help me God.
So help me God.
Congratulations.
Please take your seats. We will now recognize each lieutenant in their assigned branch by having family, friends, and loved ones pin their shoulder boards. Each cadet will be receiving their commissioning certificate, the Army Officer's Guide, and the Task Force Havoc coin. Designation of the Distinguished Military Graduate is a prestigious award. Recipients of this honor must be ranked among the top 10% of senior ROTC cadets in the nation. This designation will remain a part of the recipient's permanent record of service. Lieutenant Colonel Cederman will now present the Distinguished Military Graduate Certificates. Would the following lieutenant please come forward as your name is called? Second Lieutenant Jessica Default. Placing her shoulder boards will be her parents, Paula and David Dufault, and her brothers, Jake and Josh Dufault. Lieutenant Dufault is appointed to active duty as a Transportation Corps officer. Lieutenant Dufault has graduated from Hofstra University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Exercise Science. Round of applause. Designation of Distinguished Military Student is also a prestigious award. Recipients of this honor must be ranked among the top 20% of senior ROTC cadets in the nation. This designation will remain a part of the recipient's permanent record of service. Lieutenant Colonel Cedarman will now present the Distinguished Military Student Certificate. Would the following lieutenant please come forward as your name is called? Second Lieutenant Jose Rivera. Placing his shoulder boards will be his mother, Carmen Rivera, his sister, Jenny Ortiz, his fiancé, Julian Romero, and his godson, Gerardo Rodriguez. Lieutenant Rivera is appointed to active duty as a field artillery officer. Lieutenant Rivera has graduated from Hofstra University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in Spanish and Latin American Caribbean Studies. Would the following lieutenants please come forward as your names are called? Second Lieutenant Anne-Marie Allen. Placing her shoulder boards would be her father, Hopeton Allen, and her sister, Desiree Allen. Lieutenant Allen is appointed to the New York National Guard as a Signal Corps officer. Lieutenant Allen has graduated from Hofstra University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in criminology. Second Lieutenant Christopher Ash. Placing his shoulder boards will be his parents, Dennis and Dolores Ash, and his sister, Carolyn Ash. Lieutenant Ash is appointed to the New York National Guard as a military intelligence officer. Lieutenant Ash has graduated from SUNY College in Old Westbury with a Bachelor of Science degree in criminology. Second Lieutenant Matthew Canavan. Placing his shoulder boards will be his parents, Maria and John Canavan. Lieutenant Canavan is appointed to New York National Guard as an infantry officer. Lieutenant Canavan has graduated from Hofstra University with a Bachelor of Business Administration degree in Business Management. Second Lieutenant Alex Chopik. Placing his shoulder boards will be his parents, Roberta and Zenon Chopik, and his sister, Sarah Chopik. Lieutenant Chopik is appointed to active duty as a Transportation Corps officer. Lieutenant Chopik has graduated from Hofstra University with a Bachelor of Arts degree in history. Second Lieutenant Isaac G. Placing his shoulder boards will be his parents, Esther and Charlie G. Lieutenant G is appointed to the New York National Guard as a Chemical Corps officer. Lieutenant G has graduated from Adelphi University with a Bachelor of Science degree in Exercise Science. Second Lieutenant Stephen Mancia. Placing his shoulder boards will be his parents, Martha and Diego Mancia, and his aunt and uncle, Justina and John Figueroa. Lieutenant Mancia is appointed to active duty as an Ordnance Corps officer. Lieutenant Mancia has graduated from Malloy College with a Bachelor of Science degree in Speech Language Pathology. Second Lieutenant Lisa O'Youngin. Placing her shoulder boards will be her parents, Patricia Zink and Roy O'Youngin, her stepmother, Denise Rollins, and nephew, Jarrell Allen. Lieutenant O'Youngin is appointed to the New York National Guard as an Ordnance Corps officer. Lieutenant O'Youngin has graduated from Studi College at Old Westbury with a Bachelor of Science degree in criminology. Second Lieutenant Jillian Sementini. Placing her shoulder boards will be her aunt and uncle, Roseanne and Augusto Segura. Lieutenant Sementini is appointed to the New York National Guard as a military intelligence officer. Lieutenant Sementini has graduated from Hofstra University with a master's degree in forensics linguistics. It is an honored tradition that a newly commissioned second lieutenant proudly hands a shiny silver dollar to the first enlisted soldier who salutes him or her. The exact origin of the custom is arguable, but it probably began before the U.S. Armed Forces were organized. British regiments stationed in colonial America brought with them a number of customs and traditions that were retained by the newly formed American Armed Forces. For example, newly commissioned British officers were assigned an enlisted soldier to train them, teach them the regiment's history and traditions, and ensure that his equipment met appropriate standards. Grateful lieutenants often showed their heartfelt gratitude by informally compensating the enlisted soldier with a small sum of money. This custom continued to grow within the British military and newly formed American units. American second lieutenants in 1816 received a monthly base pay of $25, a $3 ration allowance, and $1 for an enlisted advisor. This advisor's pay was later discontinued, but the responsibility for teaching newly commissioned officers continued. The present-day tradition is thought to have its roots in this relationship. Authorized by Congress on April 2nd, 1792, the silver dollar traditionally is the only coin given in the exchange for the first salute. Soon-to-be second lieutenants go to great lengths to secure these silver dollar coins. The silver dollar coin represents more than its currency value. To every new officer, it has special significance. It represents a symbolic receipt of respect due the newly earned rank and position. It signifies deep sense of gratitude of the new officer for the knowledge enlisted soldiers, especially non-commissioned officers, have passed on to them during training. It's acknowledgement from one professional soldier to another saying, "Welcome to our service and the profession of arms." The coin is an expression of respect shared together, as are all tasks and missions that are given together for the officer and soldier to perform. The values and ethics that are passed on to the newly commissioned officers are to be shared and remembered and to be passed on again when the time comes. Whatever is the origin of the silver dollar salute, it is now part of the symbolism of a soldier's love of duty and their respect for each other, and it strengthens their commitment and responsibility to serve their country. Second Lieutenant Default will now receive her first salute from Sergeant First Class Robinson Paniagua. Second Lieutenant Rivera will now receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Robinson Paniagua. Second Lieutenant Allen will now receive her first salute from Master Sergeant Lamont Kemper. Second Lieutenant Ash will now receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Magdalena Smith. Second Lieutenant Canavan will now receive his first salute from Specialist Dylan Canavan. Second Lieutenant Chopik will now receive his first salute from Sergeant First Class Robinson Paniagua. Second Lieutenant G will now receive his first salute from Master Sergeant Lamont Kemper. Second Lieutenant Mancia will now receive his first salute from Private First Class Casey John Schneider. Second Lieutenant O'Youngin will now receive her first salute from Private First Class Eric Blazenstein. Second Lieutenant Sementini will now receive her first salute from Sergeant First Class Christopher Naylor. Ladies and gentlemen, once again, please join me in giving another round of applause to our newly commissioned lieutenants. This concludes today's ceremony. If you would please rise for the singing of the Army song. I'd like to thank you for attending today's commissioning. We invite you to join us congratulating newly commissioned lieutenants and for refreshments in the reception area. Please feel free to take as long as you need to take photos. Lieutenants, stand by. Thank you.